That's it. And I do think it's a valid interrogation.
So, from an ethics standpoint, like, to what extent would you problematize the Ash'ari understanding and how they've resolved this issue?
Yeah, I think it's problematic in my understanding.
Because it has to be harmful salt.
Not only harmful salt, but that if you're saying it can't be spoken in time and place, then how do you explain that Allah, when he said Iqra, he did so in time and place when the Prophet Muhammad was in a cave?
Yeah, because like from what they're saying is like, for example, like when you say Quran is Kalamullah, I can see that like obviously from a logical standpoint, it's either like a relationship of identity or whatever. So
yeah. So I don't accept that. So that's an internal Islamic discussion.
Yeah.
And so, what if someone is speaking to a Christian about this? They have to make very clear, even if they're Ash'ari, like what I do as an Athari in this understanding, right? I'll make clear what the Ash'ari position is. Say Ash'aris believe in this, Atharis believe in this, and even Mu'tazilis believe in this. Because the thing is, when we're speaking to Christians and Jews, okay, or people of different faiths, they have a right to know how Muslims, at least in the main body of Muslims, there's a difference between an inter-Islamic discussion and an inter-Islamic or inter-religious conversation and an intra. Right? So all this does is that the interrogation negates one understanding. It does not negate the Islamic creed. Does that make sense? That's it. I believe it's a well-placed interrogation. If someone says, if God is, and I had to think about this myself, and then I came to the conclusion. So yeah, absolutely, I would agree with that.
Okay. Alright, alhamdulillah, that makes sense.
Yeah, alright, thanks.
Because I don't want to make it too long, because also there's a lot of other issues that are related to it, but I'm also very worried about, like bringing all that stuff in the open, because like it's not.
Yeah, but we believe Allah actually spoke the Quran. We believe the Quran is harfun wa sawt. When I say we, I'm talking about the Athari understanding. Ash'aris don't believe it's harfun wa sawt. They don't believe in that. And this is a difference between the Ash'aris and the Atharis. And I personally taken a position on it. But that's it. If someone will ask me what is the opinions of what Kalam Allah is in Islam, then we'll say that these are the opinions 1, 2, and 3. The opinion I follow is A, and that's it.
And you strengthen it from the linguistic standpoint because you say that kalam has to be harf and salt in this.
That's how it's understood classically for years.
So I would say the last thing. So when you say like, وَيَقُولُونَ فِي أَنفُسِهِمْ لَوْلَا يُعَذِّبُنَ اللَّهُ بِمَا نَقُولُ. So they're saying that the Quran, even within the Quran, there's a basis like in the lugha, but let's be like qawl, but then it's not like it's been nafs, so it doesn't. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I understand what kalam nafsi and so on, but that's a very complicated discussion, which I don't even think there is an explanation from that side. There are many things which we can disagree with, quite frankly, but as I say, these are the views of Islam. You have the Ash'ari understanding, you have the Athari understanding, and you have the Mu'tazili understanding, which was condemned massively. And that's it. And I take the Athari understanding and proving. So if someone says, what about how could the Quran or the interrogation that we just said? That's an intra-Islamic interrogation. That doesn't mean anything. All you're doing is refuting one group over another.
And it's obviously from a Christian standpoint, like the point still remains. We maintain the utter impossibility of the whole Jesus God man type thing.
Absolutely, there's no similarity there. The only similarity would be is if you say that the question that we ask Christians, how can an eternal being become in a limited space? And then they say you guys believe the Quran is eternal, and it's also taking in time and space. That's a very valid, but that doesn't undo Islam. That undoes Ash'arism. You have to understand that undoes one understanding of Kalam Allah. That's like very valid interrogation. Tell me how you would answer that. That is, you have to answer that by saying actually Allah can speak within time and space, and that's not the distinction that we should be trying to highlight. We should be trying to highlight a completely different distinction, which would be the distinction of persons, the 3 in 1. That is something no one in Islam has said. So why don't we talk about, when we're talking to Christians, things that we unanimously agree upon as Muslims versus things which you guys unanimously agree as Christians? Then we can have an interest. But if you're going to tell us about something which some Muslims believe over others,
like since Christianity came up here, like I did want to put this to you because like I know obviously like I've been consuming your content for a while, and a lot of what you brothers put out and stuff like that, and I've had my own interactions with a lot of Christians that I know, and it kind of appears to me that like whereas for a Muslim like as far as their iman and what they believe in being like somewhat logically sound. This doesn't seem to be like as important to a lot of Christians that I've met. Like their faith a lot of the time seems to be based on witness of the Holy Spirit. I believe in, you know, has God spoken to me, that kind of stuff, and that's what they really ground their faith on. Like, you know, once you chip deep enough, you end up just getting back to, well, the Bible says it, my priest said it, so therefore I'm going to believe in it no matter what. So like, what implications do you think that has on in terms of like our da'wah approach with Christians? Because obviously for them it's not like, if you point out contradictions and problems and issues and all that kind of thing, at the end of the day it's going to come back to, you know, that's what I believe in. And then it's like as if there's no bridge to be able to speak to them on a...
It's tribalism, because I mean many times the Quran speaks to this kind of tribalism. For instance, where Allah mentions that when Moses and Aaron, when they went to Pharaoh and his people, and it says قالوا أجئتنا لتلفتنا عما وجدنا عليه آباءنا وتكون لكم الكبرياء في الأرض وما نحن لكما بمؤمنين. That have you come to try and turn us away from what our fathers believed in, and so that you can have the dominion in the earth, and we're not going to believe in you. So they assume that the motive that we have is domination. That's very much a right-wing, alt-right narrative, that we're trying to dominate people. And that was something that was said before, and that is something that is going to continue saying. So we have to try and put forward the thesis that the truth should be more important than what your fathers and what your forefathers have said. And if we go through that angle, I think we can get some people. But unfortunately, the vast majority of them probably are going to stay on the religion of their forefathers, and that's just part of sociological reality. Yeah? Habibi, take care. Thank you so much, bro. Alright, so that was more of a question and answer session. Let's see if Alaikum, bro, how you doing? Let's see if there's anybody here that we can have a conversation with from the opposite, from another religion. Yeah?
Yeah. Oh my God, there's a what? Where they gone?
Okay. Salam, how you doing? You okay?
It's too many. Thank you, bro. Oh, what about this one? See? I'm a bad guy now, yeah?